Good evening, Commonwealth, and thanks for watching the Channel 2 News. I'm Chris Nelson. Let's take a look at tonight's top stories. A local man about to become a master navigator. Also tonight, fixing the drainage is the first step to cleaning up Garapan, but how about abandoned buildings? And our airport is inspected by the Japan government, a key step to future Skymark flights. In sports, a shutdown threatens to close the center of the Saipan sports scene. Stay with us. These stories and more are next.
48 hours. That's all we get in a week. But those 48 hours, we try to make them last forever. How? By filling them fast with all the right stuff. With a lot of laughter, a little drama, some adventure, and a whole lot of love.
Dad, Mom's here.
It happens pretty quick,
Bye, Dad.
but it's cool. Because the rest of the week, we talk about our plans
You want to go to the beach?
on how to make the next 48 hours last us a lifetime.
Okay. Can I meet Alan, please?
Attention passengers of flight AJ3004, your flight has been delayed.
It's the flavor that makes you go, woo. McDonald's new spicy barbecue glazed tenders and chicken sandwich. Made with tender, juicy, all-white meat chicken.
Available in 4, 6, or 10-piece chicken tenders. Try the spicy barbecue crispy chicken sandwich too.
Hafaday, Tirawami, and good evening, Commonwealth. It is Friday, October the 4th, 2019. CUC says effective immediately. Boil water before using it if you live in Coblerville, Chalan-Piao, Afetnas, Chalan-Canoa, Susupi, San Antonio, and San Jose. CUC says E. coli was found in the water supply of those areas, and it can make you sick. CUC says to boil water for 1 minute and then let it cool before using. Boiled or bottled water should be used for ice, brushing teeth, washing dishes, food preparation, and of course, drinking. CUC says an equipment failure caused the amount of chlorine to be too low to properly treat the water. They say that has been fixed, but they are still waiting for tests to come back to make sure that the water is being treated and chlorinated properly. Infants, young children, the elderly, and those with weakened immune systems are especially at risk. Any questions can be directed to the CUC call center. After hundreds of years, the CNMI gets to witness a sacred ritual and a significant ceremony of initiating a master navigator. Sally Lemus reports.
A traditional and rare initiation ceremony for bringing an individual into the navigation family is currently taking place at the Civic Center in Susupi.
This is the first PWO ceremony that we know of that's happened in the Northern Mariana Islands, at least in the last couple of hundred years. If it's happened before, it's really a significant ceremony because we're going to see Tony Piailug, the son of Mau Piailug, honored as initiated into the ranks of Master Navigator.
Antonio Piailug, or more known as Tony, has been sailing with his father since he was 8 years old. After more than 50 years, he will finally become a master navigator.
Wow, the feeling is it's different. We're happy that we can continue.
Tony has piloted many seafaring vessels around the Pacific over the years. He is also the co-head of the Seafaring Traditions program.
The one I cannot forget is the one in 2016, from after the first pack, from here to Palau when I get sick on that trip. Yeah, it took us 47 days.
The first phase of the ritual was the blessing for protection of those who may enter the canoe house, or legs in navigational terms. The legs are given permission to move about the canoe house and help. Following the blessing, men and women began preparing traditional food using the underground oven.
This is also a very important day, like today and tomorrow. Tomorrow is the actual post ceremony, but today is the ceremonial of the sacred underground oven. So we still have things to do now. When the rocks are too hot, and then that's when we will ceremonially open it, and then we will put the breadfruit. The one for the men is strictly for the breadfruit only, while the woman will do the toppings of the filling of the bowls with the sweet taro.
During the post ceremony, he will call out the other schools even if they are not present out of respect of the masters. Grandmaster Ali says there were 12 schools in Micronesia, but now only 3 remain.
It's left us with only 3 schools that are standing now, which is the one we are from, Awariang School, the top one. Then we have the Falul, and we have the Malafat. So, but always you have to mention all the schools' name when you take out the food from the bowl.
Grandmaster Ali, who has already conducted 3 initiating ceremonies, tells us more about Po.
The Eastern Islands, they call Po means pounding. Huh? So when they refer to it, it's like when you're pounding the breadfruit, it's it's smashed under that pounding stone and then was made as food for the people. But this one, in the navigational term, we use Po, meaning it's just like pounding all the knowledge into this guy that we're going to initiate.
As Tony will stay inside the canoe house, the Grand Masters will teach him more about navigational stars, weather predictions, and some secret teachings. Inside the canoe house, Tony is only allowed to eat fish and local food and drink coconut juice instead of water. He will also be taking a shower only in salt water until the 4 days are up. The Po ceremony will begin on Saturday, October 5, 2019 at 9 a.m. until noon. Though it is rare, the public is invited to witness the ceremony, but silence must be observed and the canoe house will be off limits. There will be a designated seating area for the public to observe the rituals and chants. Reporting for KSPN, I am Sally Lemes.
Officials from the Japanese equivalent of the FAA have completed their inspection of the Saipan International Airport. 2 JCAB officials spent 2 days this week inspecting our airport. Skymark expects to receive official results at the end of next week. Officials here looked at everything from the deplaning experience to immigration, customs, bathrooms, everything. Skymark said the walk-through went well. Main concern the officials had was the lack of a jetway. That is not expected to be completed for another 8 months or so. For now, portable stairs will be used alongside the aircraft. Next week, officials will inspect the Narita airport as well. Skymark expects to make an official announcement of the Narita Saipan flight towards the middle of October this month. Improvements to the Garapan area need to start with drainage and sidewalks. More tonight with Chris Conception from the Office of Planning. But what is the timeline for trying to get something done?
I mean, it's years. I mean, it's going to take anywhere from 2 to 3 to 5 years or more, really. But depending on the scale of what we're trying to do there is small, but it is the major infrastructure stuff really needs to be. We really need to invest in it because when we take care of the underground stuff, and that's not going to be cheap. When you take care of the underground stuff, drainage, and ultimately utilities and things like that, if that can be taken care of, I think the rest of it is relatively easy. Once we pave the road and build sidewalks and curbs, the BID, if and when it's formed, will be able to take care of the daily maintenance and landscaping.
Cost of the heavy lifting in the project's expected to be in the $8 to $10 million range with a yearly maintenance budget of about $400,000.
How it's done in Waikiki is there's an assessment that each commercial property pays. Residences and government property are exempt from paying any kind of fees in the district, so that's a good thing. Just commercial properties are required to pay a certain assessment every year. And in Waikiki, because they do have property taxes in Hawaii, it's based off of the value of your property. So here in the CNMI, we don't have property tax. And so the idea being floated around is, there's a couple ideas, but the easiest way is to base the assessment on the size of the lot. So how many square meters of property you occupy, if it's $1 per square meter, if it's 50 cents per square meter, whatever it is, then that's what you pay on an annual basis.
It's been 11 months since the fire broke out at Pretty Market on Middle Road, long enough for cleanup and repairs, but if you go by, it looks like the fire happened just yesterday. The fire happened on November 1st, 2018. It took a number of hours to put it out, and Century Hotel had to be evacuated. Inside, firefighters found a number of propane tanks that they think kept the fire going. This is what the scene looks like today. Fire damage still everywhere, and almost nothing has been done. For an island that relies on tourism, buildings like this can send a negative message to visitors and to the community. Fire was determined to be accidental. Fire investigators believe a generator was responsible for starting the fire. But will it ever be cleaned up? It appears doubtful. Tim Goodwin brokered the initial deal to lease the building to the owners of Pretty Market. We asked him about the property.
The problem kind of stems from, quite frankly, leasehold. The Pretty Market in particular is a short lease term. I think there's probably, 5 or 6 years remaining on the existing leasehold interest. And obviously there was big damage there. It doesn't make sense for the leaseholder to go back in and spend the money to repair it because they're not going to have enough time to get the return on investment. And so in that instance, they just let it sit. And they've either made their money in the past or whether they have or not, they're not going to put any more money back into it.
So a property like that sits, but it kind of brings the whole place down a little bit.
No question. And then that's when somebody, an agency like zoning would come in and they'd either get a hold of the leaseholder and say, you're under obligation to do it. And if the leaseholder says, hey, listen, I'm out, I'm canceling my lease, then they have to go back to the property owners. The situation in Pretty Market is a little difficult because I think there's probably 30 or 40 property owners. And so, then they'd have to go and try to find somebody within that group that would have the authority to go and clean it up.
How do we stop stuff like that happening? What are some protections that a government can do so that kind of stuff doesn't happen?
Well, typically in a ground lease, there's probably language in there that states that, the leaseholder can't commit waste and, has to keep the property within the laws of the CNMI. But again, that doesn't prevent a leaseholder from just up and abandoning it and leaving and running away. And then what do? And then you kind of have a situation where the government has to maybe condemn the property or take it back by eminent domain, and then it would be under their books and their obligation to clean it up. And then again, you've got a running lease and you've got a landowner, so it's a little complicated.
Coming up, we'll take a look at a teacher who is saying goodbye to the Marianas, but hopes to keep up the good work in the mainland. More news next. Welcome to the Marianas Eye Institute. Our office on Beach Road is staffed with U.S. certified eye care technicians, doctors that have received national recognition, and a friendly, professional staff that will look after you and your loved ones. With over 1,200 eyeglass frames to choose from and an in-house lab, we can make most glasses in about an hour, and we even feature a mobile clinic to bring eye care to you. Keep your eyes healthy and strong with professional eye care at the Marianas Eye Institute. Welcome back. You're watching the Friday night edition of the Channel 2 News. The executive director of MyPros left Island this week. We caught up with him for an exit interview.
We came to Saipan for a 2-year adventure 7 years ago. I accidentally became a teacher. A lot has happened in these 7 years, and our family misses us, and we desperately need to connect with them again.
Gerard Van Gillis, or Mr. G as he is known, left Island yesterday, headed for the U.S. mainland with his family. Former teacher is the executive director of the Marianas Young Professionals. He started the $1 Million Scholar Program and even worked as a stand-up comedian. He says the programs he helped start will continue.
The work of Marianas Young Professionals and the $1 Million Scholars will continue, and I'm going to continue to participate by coordinating with our college-bound scholars in the continental U.S. and by negotiating new scholarship arrangements with colleges. And so we hope to keep the great work that we've been doing as a community rolling forward.
Van Gil says over the past 4 years they've helped about 150 students attend college.
We have our first graduates coming out this May. We got about a dozen kids graduating with bachelor's degrees this May.
Yesterday, the former teacher met with Governor Torres about the scholarship program. His exit interview about all things CNMI. What are some things that can happen in education that can make a place better?
Well, I'll speak first to my own experience, which is that people who come from outside, especially people who come here to teach, we need to spend some time learning. We need to learn about these people, this culture, this place, and we need to be not arrogant in how we approach teaching. It's a humble profession, and we need to learn and love these people and then teach them from that perspective. I think sometimes educators, especially in my case, we come off a little bit self-important and so knowledgeable just because we come from a bigger place, but bigger's not better. And I had a lot to learn here, and I've spent a lot of years learning from wonderful, wonderful Indigenous people. So I would just tell my friends who come from away to come to this island, make lots and lots of local friends, because the people that are from here for thousands of years are just the best people I've known. Our wonderful Filipino community, we need to make sure that these children who are born here get to realize the American dream. We need to nurture all of the young people of this island. And education is the best job in the world because this is our mission.
What do you think is the most important thing you've learned living in Saipan?
I'm not a very religious person, but in almost every religion there is a common ideal, which is to love your neighbor as yourself. And I have learned to love the people of the CNMI, and I have learned that when you take one step toward loving them, they will take 2 steps towards loving you. These are the best neighbors I've ever had.
2 more corporate sponsors climb on board to support the NMI chapter of the American Red Cross.
The Northern Marianas chapter relies on contributions to provide services to the community. Yesterday, Tan Holdings donated $5,000. McDonald's matched that today.
Why not? You know, the American Red Cross has helped a lot of, community members, especially during typhoon season, and especially for our employees. They've been personally, touched by the Red Cross, and so that's why we continue every single year to donate to the Red Cross without any questions asked.
And once again, the raffle will be, wow.
Our grand prize, as you know, is the Toyota RAV4, and then we have a shopping spree, $15,000, and you can take them to anywhere of the Joten outlets. You can even buy a car.
This fundraiser will be a week from Saturday night.
Where are you going to be that night, October 12th?
Latino night.
Hello, Antigene, Fiesta Resort, Saipan. Come join us.
Salsa in the sand.
Yep, salsa in the sand.
Will it be hot and spicy?
Always hot and spicy.
Coming up, a year older, a year wiser, a professional fighter sees a new light and a new way forward. Bob Coldine with KSPN2 Sports next.
Faster, easier to use. With live TV, recordings, video on demand, and streaming apps, all in a single place. When you're looking for something new, recommendations are tailored to you. Voice-powered, personalized results to find what you want faster. and the unlimited potential of smart home. The new experience from TiVo is here.
Watch the Visitors Channel online, on time, anytime at saipantv.com. Where to go, what to see, what to do. Restaurants, spas, activities, and culture, it's all in one place, in high definition on your mobile device. saipantv.com. Check it out.
You deserve more. I know it's been hard. Come on, let's go for a ride.
Hi, welcome to Dow Rent to Own.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now this feels like home.
Dial Rent to Own. Making lives better since 1987.
Buenas sports fans. Buenas sports fans, the Northern Mariana Sports Association met last night, and one of the topics of discussion, the lack of money to operate the Oleai Sports Complex. Without a budget, the entire sports complex used by hundreds of people will shut down. NMASA President Mike White comments.
No funding was appropriated for the operation of the sports complex for the forthcoming fiscal year. We are working with the governor's office and with the legislature to try and get funding restored. We have enough funds to run the sports complex probably through the end of this month, October. After that, we're just going to have to explore our options to see what we can do. We certainly want to try to keep the sports complex open if that's possible. Obviously, we can't do it without money, so those options may include closing the sports complex entirely.
3 more weeks until UFC 162 Singapore. The pride of the Marianas, Frank the Crank Camacho's in Irvine, California, training for a fight that could blow open the door of opportunity. Frank the Crank Camacho enters this fight with a record of 2-3 in the UFC, while Beneil Dariush comes in at 10-4-1, ranked 16th in the world. Frank's a heavy underdog.
The way I see it, they're kind of giving you an opportunity.
Yeah, it's so cool. Like, man, is it because they really liked me, or is it because of my last performance, or so it's all these different factors. So I'm just making sure that I just be the person that I am, and I represent the person I am, and I bring it every fight, and now more so shifting the mindset of what do I have to do to win, and so we're gonna go in there. We're gonna get that W. That's the plan.
Of course, everyone goes in planning to win, but what he is referring to is a different style, a more mature fighter this year after joining Team Oyama. His wild style, while helping him win 3 fights of the night, also caused him to lose when he could have won.
Like, in contrast, like, I used to always think about going into fights like, oh, I'm gonna get this knockout, or oh, I'm gonna get this epic finish, or I'm gonna get this, like, no, what I'm gonna do is, now at this level, you have to dissect these opponents, and you have to have like different strategies to how do you put yourself in a position to win.
Dariush and Camacho have one common opponent, Drew Dober. Dariush beat him. Camacho lost to him after spending the whole fight trying to knock his head off.
I'm learning as I go. I mean, it's crazy that I'm learning this right now, but before, it's always finish. But man, you're up first round, you're up the second round, the third round. Man, I don't need to put myself in dangerous positions to where I could potentially get knocked out or finished, So, man, playing it safe and learning how to become a competitor, I'm a martial artist. Everyone knows I'm a fighter, and I will bite down my mouthpiece and I'll fight. And then you're an athlete, but that fourth pillar, man, you have to learn how to be a competitor, and and at the end of the day, it is a competition, right? I'm learning to not make fights harder than they need to be.
Looking back on his most recent fight, a win over Nick Hine, Frank's able to see the fight in a new perspective.
I was watching it the other day and I was like, man, thinking about it now, I could have easily made the Nick Hine fight so difficult.
Yeah.
But I took my time and I picked my shots and I got the finish in the second.
The Crank, the wild fighter, is now Frank the Crank, the smart fighter.
Like the best pitchers in the world are not the guys that throw all the hard are not the fastest fastballs. It's the guys that can throw the curveball, that can throw the changeup, that can throw the fastball when they need to, but they vary and they change it up and they're very unpredictable. So that's something that I'm really trying to implement into my game. Is not every shot that I throw is going to have to be hard. I got to change my rhythm up. I got to add different feints, have different looks. So. Be very unpredictable and unreadable. Benil's really good on the ground, but he's really good only when he's on top, when he has a top position. He does certain things to where I may end up I may hit him with a takedown, and if we are on top, we're going to definitely have an advantage, So I'm not ruling it out. That's definitely part of the game plan. Again, just switching it up. Maybe I might go for a takedown. All my fights, people are training for a stand-up war. But if wrench in the mix, they might. It's just gonna change everything up. So really, just playing the whole game and having more to my arsenal is the key.
The Camacho Darius fight will be October the 26th on ESPN+. Finally, the wait is over. Everyone knows the weekend cannot start until after we show you the top plays of the week. So what are we waiting for? Nothing. We're not waiting. Coming in at number 4, Douglas Schmidt, a.k.a. Spider. He had a game-high 9 steals. Watch out for his web. Coming in at number 3, Martin Dabbour, the cross to Caden Church. He reloads, he shoots, he scores! Caden Church, top play number 3. Coming in at number 2, Kobe Shenchuan and Kiana Cabrera winning the Gecko 5000. In the KSPN2 Sports Top Play of the Week, Preston Baza, the 3-point fall-away buzzer beater, giving the Saipan Vegas Aces the win over IT&E in a battle of the unbeatens. Preston Baza, the KSPN2 Sports Top Play of the Week.
Here's the windup and the pitch.
I don't believe what I just saw.
So what are you going to do this year? At Gold's, a dedicated fitness studio with a cushioned floor is perfect for group exercise. The cardio room features a variety of treadmills, bikes, steppers, and ellipticals. Fitness machines will help you achieve your goals, and the largest free weight area on Saipan gives you comfortable space to work out. Gold's Gym Team is ready to help you get to your goals. Try harder. We know you can do it.
Traveling or laying over on Guam? Don't wait around. Zip into Guam Adventures at Zipline Park inside the Hilton Resort and Spa. Guides will take you through a series of zips, starting with a mountain course and then zip over the ocean with spectacular views of Tumon Bay. 6 zip lines in all deliver a thrilling experience, and it's family friendly, so bring the kids ages 6 and up. You'll love the security of double lines and a new braking system to make riding smoother. The towers are named after the islands in the Marianas. We call it the Island Hopper. Your guides will teach you what you need to know to soar through the jungle with a bird's eye view. Best of all, for residents of Saipan, Tinian, and Rota, you can book this experience at 20% savings. Log on to GuamAdventures.com and during checkout, use offer code half a 20. Book it and zip it today. We'll even pick you up. Today's high temperature was 86, the low 75. Heat index reached 99, humidity 84%. We had a 1.62 inches of rain dumped during a lunchtime downpour. All right, this weekend, partly cloudy, isolated showers, winds light and variable. Pretty nice for going to the beach. High 89, low 77. Seas are calm out there, 3 to 4 feet, but always be careful. Sunrise at 6:07, high tide at 6:42 in the morning, followed by a low tide at 2:11, and then sunset 4 past 6. That is your news, sports, and weather on a beautiful but rainy Friday. Have a great weekend. It starts right now.